Texas is more than big cities and skylines. Beyond the interstates lie towns full of charm, history, and surprising affordability. In this video, we're uncovering the most beautiful and cheapest places to live in the Lone Star State, where tomato festivals, lake mornings, and frontier spirit prove a great life doesn't have to cost a fortune. Number 10. Potit. Some towns shout to be seen. Potit? It just hums a familiar tune, the kind you didn't realize you knew by heart, nestled 30 miles south of San Antonio. This little pocket of South Texas, home to fewer than 3,000 people, doesn't put on airs. It greets you with a wave, a breeze, and maybe a slice of pie if you linger too long near the porch. Here, spring isn't just a season, it's a celebration. Known proudly as the strawberry capital of Texas, Potit bursts into life every April with a festival that feels more like a family reunion than a fair. Carnival rides creak beside berry fields, Tejano music floats into the dusk, and kids race between pie-eating contests and petting zoos, their fingers sticky, their laughter unfiltered. The air hangs sweet, with sugar, smoke, and stories you don't need to be from here to understand. That sweetness runs deeper than the berries. In 1904, when an artesian well transformed dry ranch land into fertile ground, this town found its roots, quite literally. Named after Postmaster Francis Marion Potit, it's grown ever since on sun, soil, and the stubborn joy of small-town resilience. Strawberries became more than a crop, they became identity. They live on in hand-painted murals, roadside shakes, and the unmistakable red water tower shaped like the fruit itself, keeping quiet watch over a town that still believes in front porches and shared meals. And the best part? You can actually afford it. Median home prices sit between $200,000 and $230,000, with two-bedroom rentals around $850 a month. Groceries? Around $300 to $350, especially if you stick to the roadside fruit stands and farmers markets, where produce comes with a story and a smile. And a random fact, this is George Strait country. The king of country was born here, and his music still lingers. Number 9. Pecos. They say in Pecos, you don't earn respect with words, you earn it in dust, sweat, and how you ride when the sun's unforgiving. This isn't a town clinging to cowboy myths. This is where the cowboy never left. Set deep in West Texas, just shy of 13,000 people call Pecos home, and almost all of them carry the place in their bones. It's a town built on grit, not gloss. Ranch hands still wake up before the light. Oilfield workers still trade stories at the diner, and the boots on your porch aren't for show. They're what you wear when the day calls for work. This is where the modern rodeo was born. July 4th, 1883, bronc riders, bull wrestlers, and wild-eyed horses kicked up the first dust storm of what would become an American tradition. Today, the Trans-Pecos Rodeo isn't some tourist photo op. It's a rite of passage. Come summer, the whole town turns out, not in costume, but in heritage, to cheer the rides, honor the legacy, and feel the thunder of hooves that echo louder than any firework. And yet, Pecos wasn't just shaped by broncs and boots. It was a railroad town, a cantaloupe town, a place where trains once cut through dry silence, and farmers coaxed sweetness from desert soil. For all its rough edges, life here won't break your wallet. Median home prices run $140,000 to $170,000, and two-bedroom rentals often start near $700. Groceries hold steady between $300 and $350 a month. But here's what you don't see on paper: the land itself. The Trans-Pecos Desert doesn't decorate, it defines. Colors bleed from the earth in ochre, rust, and sunburnt gold. The mornings are still and sharp. The evenings? Monumental. Out here, sunset doesn't fade in, it erupts, spilling fire across the sky until even the smallest gas station feels like a scene out of a western. Number 8. Windsboro. Windsboro doesn't advertise itself, it waits for you to find it. Not on a billboard, but maybe between pages of a forgotten novel. Tucked among East Texas pines and home to just over 3,600 people, This is the kind of town where magic doesn't arrive with a bang. It settles in slow, like twilight on a front porch. Founded in the 1850s and named after settler John E. Wynn, the town grew up beside railroad lines and under tall trees. Its past is written in wood and stone, in the elegance of the Marcus DeWitt Carlock House, the old-school charm of the Windsboro News, and the quiet pride of the Gilbreth Memorial Library, a former Carnegie gem that still whispers stories between its brick walls. But don't mistake nostalgia for stagnation. Windsboro lives in the present, just with better taste. Every fall since 1958, the Autumn Trails Festival turns the town into a storybook. Mule-drawn wagons clatter through leaf-lined streets, fiddles dance through the air, and chili cooks slow over cast-iron pots, while kids toss hay and wave like miniature royalty. Wander downtown and you'll find more than just charm. You'll find craft. Handmade pottery beside stacks of vintage vinyl. Artist studios that double as gathering spots. A cafe where someone might be writing poetry in the corner and someone else might invite you to open mic night at the Bowie stage. No pressure, just joy. That's the energy here, casual, quirky, and entirely welcoming. And yes, you can actually live here. Homes range from $210,000 to $270,000, and rent for a cozy 2-bedroom comes in around $1,100. Groceries usually land between $350 and $400, though you might spend more if you can't resist the farmer's market's peach preserves, goat milk soap, or that one vendor who always gives you a little extra because you look like you've had a long week. And just beyond town, still water and green silence. Lake Windsboro and Lake Bob Sandlin bookend the area like tranquil parentheses. Whether you're casting a line at dawn, paddling under branches, or just sitting still long enough to hear the birds and forget the buzz of the outside world, nature here doesn't demand anything from you. It simply offers peace. Number 7. Mexia. If you've ever longed for a Texas town where history lives on every block, neighbors cook like they're feeding the whole county, then you're probably looking for Mexia. With a population of just under 7,000, this East Central Texas gem isn't trying to be anything but itself, and that's exactly what makes it special. Mexia takes its name from General Jose Antonio Mexia, a revolutionary figure who stood for reform, independence, and identity, values that still echo through the town's story. Just outside town, Fort Parker stands as a quiet reminder of the 1836 abduction of Cynthia Ann Parker, a moment that would ripple through Texas lore for generations. A century later, those same grounds would hold German POWs during World War II, adding yet another chapter to a land shaped by conflict, resilience, and reinvention. But Mexia doesn't keep its history behind glass, it lets it breathe. You'll see it in the brush strokes of public murals and feel it during Juneteenth celebrations, where music, storytelling, and togetherness reclaim and rejoice in shared heritage. This is a place where culture isn't just something you observe, it's something you join. And that cultural richness is most alive in the town's daily rhythm. Here you'll hear 3 languages on a grocery run. The population, near equal parts, white, black, and Hispanic, doesn't just live alongside one another. It blends into something singular, something deeply Texan, proudly local. Even better, you can actually afford to stay a while. Median home values sit comfortably between $100,000 and $140,000, and a 2-bedroom rental averages around $900 a month. Groceries run a light $250 to $300 a month. For reflection, Fort Parker State Park offers trails, fishing spots, and lakeside benches where the past feels present, not heavy. For context, the Mexia Public Schools Museum reminds visitors how deeply education and history intertwine here. Number 6. Bonham. In Bonham, history doesn't sit behind glass. It lives in the air, carved into statues, painted on brick walls, and woven into the rhythm of everyday life. With a population of under 11,000, this North Texas town is more than a charming dot on the map. It's a story still unfolding, one that blends frontier grit with porchlight hospitality. Originally founded in 1837 as Bois d'Arc, named for the thorny native tree known for its strength, the town was later renamed to honor James Butler Bonham, a hero of the Alamo. That legacy of bravery and identity still runs deep here. One of the oldest towns in Texas, Bonham was a vital rail stop in the 19th century and evolved with sawmills, streetcars, and ice plants that helped fuel its boom. During World War II, it was also home to a German POW camp, a fascinating footnote in Bonham's story, and one still preserved in local lore. Downtown Bonham doesn't just feel historic, it feels alive. The courthouse square, framed by red brick sidewalks and shady trees, invites both nostalgia and neighborly connection. At its center stands the alley tenant statue, a quietly powerful tribute to civic pride and public art. Around it, murals bring history into color, antique stores whisper of old treasures, and cafes serve sweet tea with a side of conversation. The town's social calendar is a full one. From Frontier Day fairs that celebrate its pioneer past, to holiday parades and Friday night concerts on the square, Bonham knows how to throw a gathering. The community shows up not just for events, but for each other, in church pews, school fundraisers, and spontaneous front yard chats. Despite its richness in culture and history, Bonham remains refreshingly affordable. Median home prices fall between $200,000 and $240,000. A two-bedroom rental ranges from $800 to $1,000 per month, and groceries hover around $300 to $350, leaving you plenty of room for indulgences, whether that's a second slice of lemon meringue or a handcrafted find at the local market. And yes, the food here is exactly what your comfort-loving heart hopes for. Crispy fried chicken, catfish platters, and open-faced turkey sandwiches smothered in gravy are staples at local diners. Pies are homemade, barbecues are wood-smoked, and food trucks roll in with flair and flavor during town festivals. Before we move on, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Your dream town could be up next. Number 5. Breen Ridge. Ever wonder what it's like to live in a town where the hospital cafeteria doubles as a hangout spot and the gas station coffee is as dependable as your neighbor's handshake? Welcome to Breen Ridge, population just over 5,000, where cowboy grit meets everyday charm and the past doesn't collect dust, it powers the local spirit. Founded in the late 1800s as a rail stop along the Wichita Falls and Southern Railroad, it became a major artery for cattle drives and oil transport. But it was the oil boom of the mid-20th century that truly carved Breen Ridge into the Texas map. Even now, pump jacks still dot the horizon, and the downtown murals pay tribute to roughnecks, ranchers, and that golden age of black gold. But don't mistake this town for a relic. Breen Ridge is still kicking, and kicking hard. On Friday nights, the whole town turns out for Buckaroo football, a tradition going strong since the 1950s. Kids grow up in the stands, and grandparents still remember every touchdown like it was yesterday. Education matters too. Breen Ridge Junior High earned blue ribbon status in 2011, and the Texas State Technical College campus keeps a local ambition grounded in real opportunity, from nursing to drafting to electrical trades. And while the spirit here is rich, the cost of living is anything but. Median home prices range from $130,000 to $150,000, and a two-bedroom rental averages just $800 a month. Groceries come in around $280 to $320, depending on how often you stock up on breakfast tacos and barbecue takeout. What you'll notice most in Breen Ridge is the way life leans into the simple things. The historic courthouse lawn hosts craft fairs, cookouts, and 4th of July rodeos. Cowboy hats aren't a costume here, they're everyday wear. Number 4. Jacksonville. What if your hometown smelled like ripe June tomatoes, echoed with Friday night lights, and looked like a watercolor of pine hills and red brick streets? That's Jacksonville, East Texas charm in full bloom. With a population of around 14,000, Jacksonville feels both cozy and alive, like a small-town movie set that forgot to stop rolling. Founded in 1847 along the banks of Gum Creek, the town was named for settlers Jackson Smith and Dr. William Jackson, and it hasn't stopped growing its roots since. But don't let the historic label fool you. This place pulses with energy, pride, and the unmistakable rhythm of a town. Take, for instance, Tomato Fest. Jacksonville proudly calls itself the tomato capital of the world, and it's not a half-hearted claim. Every year, the town explodes in red. Pie baking contests, classic car shows, salsa samplings, food trucks, parades, and crates upon crates of tomatoes. And speaking of unforgettable, the Tomato Bowl. No, not a themed cafe, but a real stone stadium relic of the Works Progress administration era. It's where high school legends are born, and where, in true Texas fashion, a 12-overtime football game once made history. Locals still talk about it like it happened yesterday. Living here won't squeeze your wallet either. Median home prices sit comfortably between $130,000 and $200,000, and you can rent a 2-bedroom for around $900 a month. Groceries typically run $300 to $350, unless you're getting a good haul at the Saturday farmers market or growing your own backyard tomatoes. But Jacksonville isn't just about tomatoes and touchdowns. Lake Jacksonville offers glassy mornings on the water, peaceful hikes, and the kind of stillness that soothes city-worn nerves. The surrounding hills of Cherokee County make every drive feel like a Sunday escape. And then there's the art scene, with its open mic nights, student theater productions, and handmade goods from local crafters. Creativity grows here almost as fast as the produce. Number 3. Bowie. Bowie may be small in size, but it carries the weight of history and the spark of reinvention in every brick, mural, and friendly wave. With a population just shy of 6,000, this North Texas town strikes a rare balance. Part frontier legend, part modern experiment, and fully rooted in community. Incorporated in 1881 after the arrival of the Fort Worth and Denver Railway, Bowie quickly evolved from open pasture land into a booming trade hub. That railroad legacy still echoes through its historic downtown, a district rich with preserved brick buildings, bold murals, and the hum of local life. The courthouse square remains the heart of it all, not just as a civic symbol, but as a place where neighbors gather and stories pass as easily as handshakes. Bowie hasn't forgotten its past, it's simply chosen to evolve with it. During World War II, the town hosted a prisoner of war camp, a lesser-known chapter that adds surprising depth to its story. Today, the town blends those deep roots with creative growth. Take Tinytopia, for example, a tiny home village launched in 2022 that offers stylish, living units for just $830 a month. Walkable, fully furnished, and just minutes from local parks and events. It's small-town innovation with a big heart. Living in Bowie is refreshingly manageable. Median home prices range between $200,000 and $250,000, and a cozy 2-bedroom rental averages about $1,000 a month. Groceries typically land between $350 and $400, depending on how often you stop by the farmer's market or indulge in a second slice of pecan pie. And speaking of food, Bowie knows how to do it right. Classic barbecue joints serve smoky ribs that fall off the bone, while mom-and-pop diners sling hearty breakfasts that'll keep you full until dinner. You'll also find a few unexpected gems: quirky food trucks, charming coffee shops, and new eateries bringing creative twists to Southern staples. It's a town that respects tradition but isn't afraid to try something new. Number 2, Mount Pleasant. With a name like Mount Pleasant, you expect charm, and this East Texas town more than delivers. Tucked into rolling woodlands and fed by red mineral springs, Mount Pleasant, population of just 16,000, is a vibrant mix of heritage, hospitality, and homegrown flavor, all wrapped in a price tag that'll make city dwellers do a double take. Founded in 1848, the town takes its name from a Caddo phrase meaning pleasant mound, an apt description for the gently rising landscape that defines the area. By the late 19th century, it had evolved into a bustling railroad hub, linking Texas towns and trade routes. That early energy still pulses through the town's heart, especially at places like the Titus County Museum, located inside the beautifully preserved historic library. There, Stories of Caddo heritage, early settlers, and railroad grit live on through exhibits, artifacts, and local pride. But Mount Pleasant isn't just about looking back. One of its most unique attractions is the Mid-America Flight Museum, where history literally flies. Think restored vintage aircraft like Stearman's and B-17s taking to the skies. Living proof that nostalgia and innovation can soar together. The town itself is a colorful tapestry of small-town delights. You'll find boutique shops on Main Street, concerts in the alley on 3rd, and sweet surprises like Sweet Shop USA, an 80,000 square foot chocolate factory that smells like heaven and tastes even better. For nature lovers, Lake Bob Sandelin State Park is just 10 miles away, offering camping, hiking, and fishing in postcard-perfect surroundings. And all this comes at a refreshingly affordable cost. Median home prices hover between $200,000 and $250,000, with 2-bedroom rentals around $800 a month. Monthly groceries and essentials stay reasonable, usually $300 to $350, making Mount Pleasant a rare combination of cultural depth and financial ease. Events here are as rich as the soil. From rodeo weekends and Juneteenth celebrations to wine and jazz nights and family-friendly fairs, there's always something happening and everyone's invited. The town's cultural calendar reflects its diverse, inclusive spirit, one that welcomes you with a warm handshake and maybe a slice of pie. Number 1. Marlin, Texas. In a state that celebrates boldness, Marlin is a quiet reminder that beauty often lies in the calm. With a population of under 6,000, this small central Texas town may no longer be the bustling spa destination it once was, but its legacy, charm, and affordability still ripple through every shaded sidewalk and sunlit park. Known as the Mineral Water City of Texas, Marlin's story truly began in 1892, when naturally heated thermal springs were discovered underground. That single find transformed the town into a destination for the elite, the sick, and the curious, who all came seeking healing in the waters. For decades, spa hotels, wellness retreats, and mineral baths flourished here, giving Marlin a touch of old-world elegance right in the middle of cattle country. Though the spa heyday has long passed, the sense of tranquility remains. Walk through downtown Marlin, and you'll spot architectural gems like the Falls County Courthouse, a stunning vintage building wrapped in stone and civic pride. Locals still speak with reverence about the town's luxurious past, about bathhouses where people once traveled from far and wide to soak, heal, and unwind. Today, Marlin is shaped as much by its agricultural tradition as its spa town history. Green parks, tree-lined streets, and the presence of mature live oaks and blooming crepe myrtles lend the town a peaceful, almost therapeutic atmosphere. And then there's the cost of living, which is almost hard to believe. The median home price floats between $80,000 and $110,000, and 2-bedroom rentals average around $700 a month. Groceries typically run $280 to $320 a month, making Marlin one of the most affordable places to live in Texas, hands down. Comfort food still reigns here, with cozy diners dishing out fried chicken, chopped steak, and fresh-baked pies, while polished little cafes under vintage signage serve up coffee and conversation in equal measure. Local festivals, though modest, brim with personality, celebrating hometown heroes, regional crafts, and shared pride in being a place that's a little off the beaten path, but all the better for it. We hope you loved exploring with us today. Up next, we've got another beautiful destination you won't want to miss. Thanks for watching.